Playgrounds are a fixture of many schools and communities, but the accessibility of them remains varied. I am the mother of a child with a disability, and I have worked as a paraeducator and teacher with students who have disabilities for over 20 years. During that time, I have seen how the design of physical spaces impacts students. Young Ostrowski et al. Conducted a study on the perceived impact of large motor activities on children. They noted that children with disabilities tend to participate in fewer physical activities than typically developing children, and they often depend on teachers to provide direct instruction and frequent opportunities to practice motor skills. Children with disabilities can have large motor delays that impact their ability to use equipment. When students with disabilities are unable to play alongside peers, it impacts their large motor development, speech development, and adaptive behavior skills. They often need direct instruction and practice in these areas. The Americans with Disabilities Act states that playgrounds should include an accessible route from the parking lot to the entrance and within all areas of the playground. Ramps or transfer stations must be provided for at least half of the play structures, and at least one component must be at ground level. Children who use wheelchairs and walkers are unable to use my school's playground in the same way as their peers. This is an equity issue. Stanton, Chapman, and Schmidt conducted a study of teachers' perceptions of playgrounds. They write that public spaces such as parks and playgrounds are designed in ways that maintain and extend the dominance of individuals without disabilities. Accessibility is sometimes addressed by adding adaptive equipment. Oftentimes, adults only allow children with disabilities to use it in order to ensure it is always available. This approach may lead to seeing students who use that equipment as different and other. It also prevents students with and without disabilities from interacting. Even when communities or school districts install equipment that meets ADA standards, the ground cover often prevents people who use wheelchairs and walkers from moving freely. Also, some companies take traditional equipment and add ramps to it. This provides access to the top of the equipment, but there is nothing for children to do once they get. Some argue that cost is a significant barrier. One structure with a ramp costs upwards of $96,000, and a poured rubber surface costs $15 per square foot. Many find it more reasonable to add accessible equipment to an existing space rather than replacing. Traditional equipment may also be developmentally inappropriate for students with intellectual disabilities or autism, and their interests may be closer to those of a younger child. Some may argue that separate equipment or spaces prevents behavior challenges and keeps medically fragile students safe from their energetic peers. This leads to othering and prevents inclusion. Stanton, Chapman, and Schmidt argue that taking away certain features because they aren't physically accessible to all isn't equitable, and that accessible playgrounds can be boring to children. Designing a space with a wide range of developmental abilities and interests in mind leads to a tug of war between creating a space that is accessible and a space that is exciting. This study found three main concerns: a need for a playground facility to meet the needs of all students, the segregation that takes place on playgrounds between students with disabilities and typically developing children, and accessible playgrounds can be boring to children. All three must be addressed in order to create a fully inclusive space. My research taught me that accessible and inclusive are not the same. Accessible means easy to approach, reach, enter, speak with, or use. Inclusive is defined as all-encompassing, all-embracing, or covering everything or everyone. Inclusion, not accessibility, should be the standard. Accessibility is not enough. Inclusion has to be at the heart of designing spaces for children. Playgrounds should have a solid surface suitable for walking, crawling, pushing a wheelchair, or navigating with a walker. They should be spaces where all children occupy all of the spaces and where social interaction is encouraged. I can lead my school by carrying our work on inclusion into the playground, even if we aren't able to make it fully accessible. These photos demonstrate the power of inclusion. This girl watched as others helped her and then imitated that behavior. Her social skills are improving because she plays with her peers, not just beside. The Model Code of Ethics for Educators states that we have a responsibility to our students. It states that educators must show responsibility by respecting the dignity, worth, and uniqueness of each individual student, including things such as age, gender, and disability status. Adults foster an environment of inclusion by creating a community that welcomes and values all students equally within a space that meets the physical and developmental needs of all students. True inclusion takes place. Inclusion, not just accessibility, is the standard all schools should strive to meet. Moving forward, I still wonder how to secure funding for playground improvements when the school district won't or can't provide it. I also wonder how to best adapt our current playground to meet the needs of all students, even if mulch covers the ground. I did find a few websites with resources to help me. These three websites, the International Play Association, Playground Professionals, and the National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability, all have resources such as how to design an inclusive environment, professional development opportunities, potential funding sources, and general advice. Take another look at this cartoon. The first picture represents a traditional playground with mulch and climbing equipment. The second represents a playground with added accessible swings and accessible walkways. The third represents a playground where the surface area and equipment is accessible by foot, chair, or walk. The playground represented in this cartoon builds on the last one. It has all of the accessible features and activities for a wide range of developmental levels and interests. Added to this is a teacher who fosters community through social interaction.